A few days ago, I gave you the opportunity to submit your ideas for what you would like to see as a future role in Red Dead Online. Not to be confused with another video I did a while back called Future Roles, in that we were just going over information that came out regarding the Collector, Bounty Hunter, as well as Trader before the summer update became known as Frontier Pursuits. So with future role ideas, I gave you the opportunity to either submit your ideas via the YouTube community tab or over on our Discord page. And we're going to start on the community tab and then we'll move over to Discord. So let's go ahead and get things started with David. Let's see, he wants a fisherman. We get boats, like how each role has wagons. Battles take place between boats on Flatiron Lake would be awesome. Being able to own a saloon would be cool too. And you're going to notice that a lot of people have the same role ideas, and that's perfectly fine. You're welcome to have the same ideas because some of you obviously want the same type of role. Before we continue, a shout out to Irish Empire. He actually inspired me during one of the live streams to come up with this idea because he was talking about how he wanted to have a minor role somewhere down the road for Red Dead Online. I thought, hey, that would be a cool idea for an ideas video to see what you all would like to have as future roles. Next, Ave West, along with the necessary fixes to the trader role, especially as it relates to fixing animal spawns. I would be open to experience any new role that they came out with. However, the idea of purchasing a plot of land and starting farming or cattle ranching does appeal to him. I want it to be structured, however, starting with purchasing supplies, picking them up, delivering to the land, actually building a preset ranch, like in story and the epilogue, and being able to expand sections, like adding cattle pens, crop fields, even milking, rearing stations. But that is very ambitious. Yeah, Abe, it is a really ambitious idea. I love the idea. Now, obviously, Rockstar would have to select a few spots throughout the map to put, like you said, the pre-made ranches where you would be able to do stuff with the ranch, but at the same time, externally, I don't think you'd be able to make any changes now with like the internal properties of Grand Theft Auto Online. They give us some interior options or some other things that we can do with the interiors of various properties. So internally, we'd be able to change things up, like the interior of your ranch house and maybe different types of furniture and whatnot. But exterior, it would probably be the same, but they could just have like several different ranches, like maybe one in the Great Plains, one in, let's see, Big Valley or the Heartlands, and maybe one in Scarlet Meadows, as well as well, Beecher's Hope, we can't go near there, obviously, but like the Great Plains would be good. Let's see, Hennigan's Stead, that would be a good one as well. And I don't know, somewhere out west near Gaptooth or Cholla Springs. So there's definitely plots of land out there that could be hypothetically used for a rancher role, but we'll just have to see. Like you said, it's a very ambitious idea, and it probably won't come till, well, somewhere down the road. All right, so Shaun of the Dead has two ideas. Actually, it kind of ties into the same one, but I guess you could say variations of the same role, playing into the whole honorable, dishonorable system that Rockstar's put in place. For honorable, it would be a cowboy role. Farmers and ranchers hire you to herd livestock across the state. Your main goal is to make sure the herd stays together, no animals are lost. Otherwise, the amount of money earned is decreased. While herding, you may face potential threats like predators, wolves, coyotes, etc., who will prey on your livestock unless you may eliminate them. You must also defend your herd from cattle rustlers who will try to steal your livestock. Cattle rustlers can be NPC gangs or a posse of players, similar to how long-distance trader missions work. So that could actually be a role set before the rancher role, right? So before you become a rancher, you have to start out as a cowboy. And then eventually, once you get the cowboy role down, then you can take it to the next level. So you can see how some of these roles may actually connect together. But for his dishonorable, for those of you that wish to be like that, you could be a cattle rustler. You're hired by farmers and thieves who seek to ruin rival competition by stealing their livestock for profit. You can steal directly from farms or attack nearby cowboys herding livestock, which can also be NPCs or a posse of players if done successfully. You must quickly herd the livestock to the desired location and avoid being killed by avenging players or NPC backups. Since this role is dishonorable, rival cow rustlers can also steal each other as well. This can also work as a free roam event where 10 players try to defend their livestock from 10 other players who are actively trying to steal their livestock. Okay, it's an interesting idea. Very interesting, Sean. So, I mean, it's definitely, I like the idea that you would create a role. And yet there'd be two sides of it, like two sides of a coin. And some people were actually speculating that for the bounty hunter, like why don't we have like honorable and dishonorable bounty hunters? Because some of the bounty hunters you run across throughout the events of Red Dead Redemption 2 aren't exactly honorable. Some are, but some aren't. So I see where you're going with that, and it does play into Rockstar's honorable dishonorable system. Let's see, Mark, hot air balloon pilot. I like that, yeah, because I'm sure eventually they're going to add hot air balloons. So you might as well have that as a role where you could be a hot air balloon pilot. Taxi, guided tours, races, shoot down competitors. It would definitely ruin the feel of the game, but it would look amazing. Well, Mark, I feel like it's only a matter of time, if we're going to be real here, before the look and the feel of the game is going to be quote-unquote ruined. We already have this mythical metal detector, and I feel like that's just the beginning. Look, as a collector, I love my metal detector, but I know that actually didn't exist in the 1890s. And the real deal didn't come around till like the Great War, and it was significantly bigger. But it's just a matter of time before we start getting things that don't make sense, such as mythical horses and whatnot, and maybe some Pegasus and other creatures to mount. Heartless Toaster, Trapper would make unique clothing, also legendary animals for the trader, as well as passive gold mine, Moonshine, as well as horse breeder dealer, plus a fisherman. Personally, I'd love to herd 50 cows across the map with 4 other friends, NPCs, or smaller herds solo. So yeah, there's a lot of roles you have throughout there, Heartless, that you would like to see. Now, it would be cool if eventually we did get the Trapper from story mode, and maybe he ends up being our go-to guy, coming all the way from the north to help you become an aspiring trapper just like myself. See, that'd be kind of cool. And that was a terrible northern accent, and I apologize. But yeah, a lot of people want, like for example, being a fisherman, as well as having a gold mine. Maybe that's the next step from being a miner, right? You go from being a miner to a mine owner, a mine operator, and a horse breeder, horse dealer. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I mean, we definitely need a way to sell our horses in the game, Rockstar. That would be nice, because most of us don't like the idea of discarding horses that we've paid for. Let's see, Lynn, an outlaw role, being able to rob stagecoaches, along with selling goods, robbing stores, stealing from people's homes, assassination missions for money, even special missions every week like robbing a bank, because I think Red Dead Online is a lot about being a criminal or an outlaw. Being a general store owner, keeper, maybe you have a character behind the cash register, then you have to promote your store and stuff, and the more you promote your venue, you'll get from the store, because people will go and buy stuff there. Maybe also have a bar for how much people can come to your store. The more you promote, your bar goes up. Kind of like nightclubs and Grand Theft Auto Online. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of formulas that Rockstar brings over from Grand Theft Auto Online to Red Dead Online. Like, for example, the trader is definitely a form of a passive business income, which is very similar to the biker businesses or the nightclub business. Yeah, so, I mean, you're going to see a lot of copy pasta with these roles, but that's okay if it's done properly. See, also, you have to keep refilling the stock and stealing supplies, something like that. Those are my top 2. Yeah, those are 2 good role ideas. I think a lot of people eventually envision some sort of outlaw role, which would be really awesome. And, people that like the trader route, that eventually want to go from simply having a camp to eventually a shop, or maybe a chain of stores or a warehouse. That's another way to go when it comes to progression of various role types. Let's see, ESP says, I think they can introduce 5 to 10 ranks to the existing roles per major update. I don't see the point only having 20, since after a few weeks, they're maxed out and they're kind of pointless, and we just keep doing what's most profitable with the coins. I would like to see more customization added, more horses, different horses, new rank items, in addition to more experimental missions, not just fetch-like missions. New roles I could think of: photographer, gunsmith would be cool. Creating our own guns with customizations. Banker would be cool. Owning a bank, making sure to secure it from players and NPCs. Doing missions, transfer money, could be passive income. A general, being someone who owns properties in Saint Denis, like a landlord, I guess, or I don't know if we would be Angelo Bronte. I feel like they're saving Angelo Bronte as either a future stranger mission giver or a future like go-to guy. Obviously, he's kind of an important guy in Saint Denis, so I don't think we're going to be Angelo Bronte. Besides, no one makes better spaghetti than him, according to Jack. But the photographer, that's been teased about, and the one that kind of interested me was the banker. Instead of us focusing on robbing banks, which would be obviously the dishonorable way to go, what about the honorable route would be a bank owner? And maybe that's like in the progression of the collector, right? The collector leads to, some other routes. Like you love collecting coins, maybe that gets you interested in banking. And lo and behold, you end up owning a bank in Valentine or Blackwater or Saint Denis or somewhere else. It's an interesting idea, though. All right, so let's get going. Let's see. Gorlock, what are you doing? What are you spamming for? I said one idea per person. You got like 4 pages here. All right, so let's see. Expansions of the current roles, like the collector. Yeah, I think eventually we're going to see. I think we're going to see the collector. We're going to see the bounty hunter. We're going to see the trader's roles expanded, taken to the next level eventually. Let's see, wouldn't mind owning my own saloon. Yeah, being a saloon owner would be really cool. It would be awesome if you had your own saloon. You could like upgrade it. You could have different types of drinks you would serve, like I guess a piano and different interiors, including a gambling table. That's a good idea. Let's see, fame mechanic. That's an interesting one. Works with our honor. Become a max level bounty trader, collector, for example. Went to the general store, strawberry, max level bounty hunter. The store owner decided to give me a small one-time discount. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been wanting something similar to story mode, where in story mode, if you're very honorable, you get rewarded by discounts at shops. But if you're dishonorable, you get other benefits from being dishonorable. I guess just being all about bad dude. All right, so the obvious ones you want. That's the outlaw, rancher, town sheriff. So I think becoming like a sheriff's deputy or a marshal, our lawman or lawwoman is probably a future like step from bounty hunter. So I think that's the way that will progress somewhere down the road. Town doctor would be a good idea since we only have 2 doctors in Red Dead Online. We could use a few more doctors out there. Plus, it could also tie into some sort of. You're basically reading through it, glancing through your article, your paragraph here. But yeah, I mean that's an idea. I mean you could like. The gathering, right? So gathering is a role idea that some people have mentioned or will mention, and maybe you become a gatherer. A lot of us already are, and that leads to something. Maybe it leads to eventually you becoming a medicine man or a medicine woman or a doctor, and that could actually be good. And maybe you can end up opening your own practice somewhere. A town mayor. You're trying to turn this game into Sim City. Why, Gorlock? Why? A criminal mastermind as well. I do love the fact that a lot of you are excited about future role ideas. So that's definitely fantastic. And Lone Ranger also. Come on, guys. Can't you just leave it to one post? But I'm glad I'm excited about the enthusiasm here. By the way, if you didn't have a chance to submit your idea or ideas for future roles in Red Dead Online, or if there's some of these roles that you like, feel free to leave them below in the comment section. See, Wild West skins, missions, Secret Service, Lone Ranger skins. Yeah, well, a lot of that's not role related. It's just different skins, different clothing ideas that you want. See, Motordome and Saint Denis race in 1901. Well, Lone Ranger, it's still the 1890s, and there are automobiles in the 1890s, but they're very, very limited. It's not till like a decade later that they start becoming somewhat more like vehicles that we're known by, and even then, they're still very early on. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I understand the issues you're having. A lot of us are having issues with the game, but like I said, I did ask you guys to please like only post ideas for roles, and some of you wanted to use the role section to complain about stuff that most of us are already fully aware of, and I've done videos about it, like case in point my 1.13 thoughts video, but where I also did a feedback video to that going over your feedback. So I wanted this to be focused specifically on future roles, guys, please. And same goes for the comments section. I'll say Shaggy. See, I like this. Shaggy has it paragraphed out. One post. Good job, Shaggy. Thank you very much. A template for future posts, FYI. Fisherman role, almost like the trader, but worth fish. See, instead of it being in the camp, let the players see fisher business. Yeah, the camp glitch needs to be fixed. I agree entirely. See, rancher farmer. Yeah, several people want eventually to be a rancher or a farmer. a liquor distillery. That would make sense, where you actually are a moonshiner, a rum runner, someone that actually makes the product. So I can envision that being a future role as well, because the bars and saloons, they need their booze and they got to be getting it from somewhere, right? A lumberjack is definitely a good idea. Let's see. Yeah, like Tall Trees has tons of trees. Big Valley has trees. In fact, in story mode, yeah, there are actually loggers in story mode, and there's some interesting dynamics that happen in story mode with the loggers. So that could always be a future role idea. You also want a saloon idea. The trade post would be kind of cool. The next step from trader, obviously. Moving on to Wolf. Let's see, I know this isn't a stealth game, but stealth being an option in story mode. Let's see. Thief. Okay, you want to be a thief. Okay, let's move on to that. Thief is an interesting role idea. Sneak into houses and stores, taking their money and valuables. Role rank upgrade perks would carry more throwable items. Throw a rock with a sound radius. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Kind of a distract, right? You throw a rock. Several games have this already, but it works. Also, like what in Hitman, you can throw coins. That would work too. Noise made when sneaking is reduced and you're harder to spot, especially at night. Eagle eye can identify individuals with valuables. That's a very good way to send Eagle eye into that direction, to where it would work for an aspiring thief or robber. Also allowing you to pickpocket them without being noticed, as well as identify dressers, nightstands. Okay, so that would be an interesting one, because anytime you Eagle eye on a dresser or a nightstand, they always light up, right? And sometimes they don't got jack in them, right? Or sometimes they may have something that has no value to it. But what if the ones that had value and it had like a different color, right? Or they were more gold than orange. I think they're orange, right, when they flash. But yeah, I like that idea. But the problem is, I feel like the stealth mechanics are never going to be improved in Red Dead Online, because there's plenty of times when I try to stealth and it rarely works out. You might get like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 kills, but then no matter how hard you try, you still get noticed by the other NPCs. Let's see, David Williams, I want a homestead and farming where you can raise cattle, breeding, livestock. Well, yeah, that's definitely a role idea that a lot of people would have or like to have eventually in the game, including Papa Rocks. He wants to be a rancher as well. Thanks, everybody on the YouTube community tab for making your submissions. And I'm not trying to get on to anybody. I'm just saying, in the future, guys, whenever I do one of these, whether it's a room in Discord or in the YouTube community tab, please just post your submissions for that role or whatever I'm asking you guys to submit. I understand that there are issues with the game. I've pointed that out time and time again, but I'm trying to go through these, and I want to go through everybody's ideas and roles. But I get at the same time that there's problems that the game has. Let's start things off with Red, an herbalist, tonic expert. See, that's definitely another route that it could go along with gathering, as well as being a medicine man, medicine woman, being a doctor, becoming an herbalist, becoming a tonic expert. These are definitely ideas that would work towards that particular skill tree of going from gatherer to a medicine person, doctor, herbalist, etc. So that's a great idea, Red. Yuji Outlaw. See, I'd like to see a rancher role, but the question is was having the livestock and the upkeep take too much of your time? I feel like the downside would be, it would probably be a lot of time. I mean, you'd probably be able to hire NPCs to help you out or other players to help you tend the farm, and a lot of it would have to be automatically done. But at the same time, I don't know, if Rockstar makes it worth people's while and it's something you find rewarding and it's just something you really want to do in Red Dead Online, then it's definitely a role that the aspiring ranchers are going to want to do. Snake also wants a rancher role as well, and a reporter role. I wish you would have elaborated more on that, Snake, because I don't really understand what you mean. Like a newspaper reporter? Like you're going around getting the scoops for the San Denis Times or whatever the newspapers are called in the game, and you have to sit there on your typewriter. I think they had typewriters back then. I think they did. Or else they were just wrote everything in cursive, which is barely legible. I think they had typewriters. But you just sit there having to type out the score, the scoop, the story of the week. I don't know. Cormac, let's see, a zookeeper that captures extravagant animals and keeps them in zoo cages to make money from locals looking for entertainment. One thing that surprises me, Cormac, is the fact that Saint Denis did not have a zoo. Now, it's based off New Orleans, which does have a zoo, the Audubon Zoo. I think that's right. And I think it also has a racetrack. And you think in a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online that the biggest city would have a racetrack. Now, Grand Theft Auto Online's biggest city is obviously Los Santos. It has a racetrack, yet we have no horses to race on that racetrack with. So you think that they could have simply just copy-pasted the racetrack over, gave it more of an old-timey look, and put it like right outside of Saint Denis. That would have been perfect for us to have some, horse racing besides all the other horse racing we have. But it would still been cool. But also a zoo is an interesting idea. And maybe that, having some sort of, like with what, Margaret? I think Margaret's their name from Side Quest and Story Mode. Maybe Margaret has you go out and find quote-unquote exotic animals. And maybe that's a way that we get more interesting, crazy mounts, as I've mentioned a few times down the road in Red Dead Online. So that could be an option as a interesting, I don't know if it would be a role, but it would probably be a way for us to get like camels and bison to ride, as well as bulls and other things as well. Let's see, Kari, definitely a rancher or farmer role for sure. Photography role, give people a reason to bother using the camera. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the camera. I rather just take screenshots or wait for the Rockstar editor to eventually come to Red Dead Online. Hopefully it will be coming sooner rather than later. But, I mean, anything they can do to make photography in the game better, I'm all for it. And I know that's something that has been discussed a few times, so we'll see how it goes. Let's see, Kane. My idea for a role would be Moonshine Dealers, similar to Trader role, but the Moonshine business would be like Special Cargo business in Grand Theft Auto Online. Fill up stock, you got to find the items throughout the world, start the mission, get the stock. Once you fill it up, you sell it for good money. Business locations would be available to buy it in the catalog. Original roles like $15 gold to start. So yeah, I think that's going to be the norm for all the roles, is you'll have to pay obviously that down payment of 15 bars of gold. So be sure and save up your gold for future roles. And I guess you would have to build a distillery like some people were talking about on the YouTube community tab. And you would have to have that house manned by NPCs, similar to the different, biker businesses in Grand Theft Auto Online. And then they would make the product. You'd have to bring in the materials for the product, obviously. And then eventually, once you had enough barrels of moonshine or rum or beer or whiskey or whatever you're selling, then you would go sell it, very similar to how the trader mission works. Let's see, cool guy. A role I would like would be a fishing role where you take a boat into the ocean. Well, we currently don't have oceans. Well, near Guarma we do. But anyways, go deep sea fishing. So I think as far deep as you're going to be able to go, cool guy, is in the middle of Flatiron Lake. But there's obviously a lot of people that want a fisherman role, and they want the ability to purchase boats and actually fish off the boat. Because the current boats in the game, you can't do that. But there is at least one little side quest you can do in Red Dead Redemption 2 where you can actually fish off the boat with a couple friends in story mode. Easy, a prostitute role. Well, this is what's going to happen when you have that role. You're going to have a pimp that's very demanding of you. You're going to have to work long hours. You're going to be sore. And you're going to end up like running into somebody that wants to be the next Jack the Ripper. Or you're going to die of syphilis. That's how that role ends for you. Easy. Elephants, miner, prospector, make use of those caves. And like I said at the beginning of the video, shout out once again to Irish Empire for inspiring me with the idea for this video. And mining is definitely something I could see as a future role down the road. And, we would get a pickaxe or different types of pickaxes, maybe a starter pickaxe, and then a better pickaxe as we progress. We get to upgrade it, and each upgrade allows us to mine more ore, more iron, more gold, more silver, and all that good stuff. So yeah, I definitely could foresee a miner prospector role being something that Rockstar would implement sooner rather than later. That way, you could put all those skills you learned in Skyrim from mining, or some of you from Minecraft, to work for you as that role in Red Dead Online. Let's see, Brian, my idea for a future role is outlaw do heists. Now that is an interesting question, because some of you obviously want an outlaw role, but would the heists be their own update similar to Grand Theft Auto Online heists? Or would the heist be tied into two different roles, like from two different point of views, like from the point of view of the lawman role, where you're a lawman, you're maybe a security guard, maybe you work for the Pinkertons, or maybe you're a sheriff's deputy, or maybe you're a marshal or a ranger or something like that. And you're on the other side, right? You have to stop the heist from happening. The bank robberies, the train robberies, stagecoach robberies, riverboat robberies. But on the other side, the outlaw role, their job is to successfully pull off the heist, the robbery. So that would be an interesting idea for Rockstar to consider whenever they do eventually add heists to Red Dead Online. I think it'll happen sooner or later. How they implement it, I guess we'll find out. Let's see. Sedan also wants to be a fisherman. Yeah, I think I would like to be an angler in the game. I do love fishing. It gets repetitive after a while. But I do enjoy it, and it would be nice if they actually made a role out of that. And I guess we'll have to see. Let's see, Spare and Donkey, I feel like the role of photographer would fit into the world of Red Dead Online. You could go to certain spots and photograph certain things, getting gold, XP, cash for it. Now, I will say this about the idea of photography, even though I'm not a fan of the camera, as I pointed out already. The world itself offers much for an aspiring photographer. In fact, whenever I'm doing screenshots from my live streams, obviously I'm doing that, I guess, from a wannabe amateur photographer point of view, because I come across so many like awesome scenes and vistas and mountains and trees and hills and the weather, whether it's a nice sunny day or the sun setting or whatnot. So yeah, as a photographer role, I mean, there would be almost limitless opportunity for you to go into the world of Red Dead Online and take photos, from rivers to Mount Hagen to cities like Saint Denis, Blackwater, etc. So yeah, the photographer role has potential, but we'll see how it goes. And see, finally, we got JT Maxx. Let's see, minor rancher role for sure, and a gambler role. So a gambler role, that's one thing that definitely surprised me whenever they added the poker table to Red Dead Online. Hopefully they'll eventually add blackjack along with all the others like dominoes, liar's dice, five finger fillet, etc. Is that whenever you play poker, you don't really get anything out of it besides money from other players, whether they're your friends or randos you happen to be playing against. I honestly thought that they would add like some like poker buckles, right, that you could earn and like unlock, like you get a certain number of wins, or you get you win with like a high card or two card, a pair or two pair or straight or flush. You get the idea. But a gambler role would be an interesting role to go. Maybe eventually you start off as a simple gambler, but then eventually that could lead you towards becoming like the owner of your own riverboat casino. Once again, thank you so much to everybody on Discord as well as the YouTube community tab for submitting your future role ideas. A lot of great ideas there, some I didn't even think of that would make absolute sense in the world of Red Dead Online, and I hope that Rockstar considers implementing all of them, because obviously they're roles that you're passionate about and you would like to eventually see in the game somewhere down the road. And if there was any of the roles that were mentioned that you happen to like, that you would like to expand upon, or if there was a role that didn't come up that you thought would be a fantastic future role in Red Dead Online, feel free and let us know below in the comments section.